we are going to look at becoming an expert just from a good technician at repairing different electronic devices. Now, I'm going to be using the iPad A1432 for this lesson, but most of the principles will apply to general devices, whether they're laptops, bezels from screens, and so on. A lot of it will apply to all of them. Now, first thing you do with any device, you do not want to cause any harm, and you want to know what's wrong with it already. You do not want to do a repair to replace a battery and the volume doesn't work or the camera doesn't work. It may not have been working from the beginning, so you look for certain signs. Is the frame straight? Are there any signs of liquid either on the ports, on the back, or on any surface? Do the buttons press smooth and easy? Or if they're sticky, that's an indication that there has been some liquid or that the device fell. And even though the customer might see one damaged component, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's all that's wrong with it. Now, one tip, and that is, will take you from being a novice to an expert in a short time, especially for devices you've never done. Look at the replacement components. Those give you an idea of what is inside the device. Even if you've never been inside it, you cannot tell from looking at the surface. And on this one, we're doing a replacement screen. You cannot tell from looking at the surface what is underneath these. Where are your ribbons, your speakers, and different components underneath that you do not want to damage either by scraping or overheating as you go through the process. Now, in this case, in replacing the screen, we are going to heat the edges to remove the adhesive. And in heating, we want to avoid the camera, the home button, and any antennas that might be along the edges. Right. When we're heating, one tip that I always have, cover the LCD. You do not want to get the LCD at all to disform, or it might burn out altogether and stop working. So what I do, I take a piece of cardboard and stick it either along the edges where we'll be heating, or if possible on the opposite edges. The reason for that is you do not want the tape itself to end up burning as you do it. Another tip, point your heating gun away from the center of the screen. Same reason is you do not want the components in the middle to be heated. Do not point it at the home button, at the camera itself. Do the areas around it while you're covering those components. Once we get inside the device, in fact, before we get inside the device, as we are scraping to get underneath the glass, you need to develop a sense of know where the pressure is. You should not have any obstacles as you insert your card or your spludger or whatever it is that you are using to get in between the screen and the frame. Any resistance that you feel, in this case, this is the old screen that we had removed. This is where the camera is, and as you can see, as we're going, that would be resistance. When you feel resistance, attack it from the opposite side, and again until you feel resistance. Same thing with the bottom. You do not want to tear or rip a cable. In this case, this is the home button and touch sensor cable. So you rip this at all, either your home button or your screen become completely useless. Right, once we're inside the device, first thing, and that's on any device that you work on, disconnect the power. Disconnect the power. There's so many shorts that you can cause by leaving the power in and disconnecting any ribbons or connectors while the battery is plugged in. Now, to remove your connectors from your sockets, you want to attack at opposite ends of the socket, off the connector, and pry it up evenly. You don't want to pry this side up or this side up, or only do one side. What that does is it flexes the connector. It deforms, it bends like this, which means the individual pins, you might have some on this side that are fully connected and some of the side on the other side that are not touching.